AITA for walking out after catching my girlfriend giggling while a guy's hand was on her thigh. It's harmless. That's just how Justin talks. He calls everyone baby or sweetie as a joke. Don't make it weird, Owen. You're projecting your own insecurities onto my career. That sentence, that series of words, kept me paralyzed for 3 months. It's the phrase that made me question my own sanity, my own eyes, and the gut instinct that had been screaming inside me ever since she started a new job at a marketing agency. I'm 31, an architect. I work with structures, foundations, and load-bearing walls. If a foundation is cracked, you don't just slap a coat of paint on it. You fix it, or you condemn the building. But in my relationship with Helen, I let her paint over cracks that were widening every day. We had been together for 3 years. Good, solid years. We were talking about buying a house in the suburbs, maybe getting a dog. I was the steady hand on the wheel. She was the vibrant, chaotic energy that made life fun. But everything changed when she landed the account director position. It was a big step up, more money, more travel, and a work hard, play hard culture that seemed to demand total immersion, including Justin. At first, Justin was just a name, mentioned casually during dinner. Justin had a crazy idea for the pitch. Justin brought bagels for the team. Justin is so funny, you'd love him. He was the senior VP of sales, a legend at the office. From what I gathered, he was the guy who closed the deals that kept the lights on. He was charismatic, loud, and, according to Helen, just very handsy. I tried to be the supportive boyfriend. I swear I tried. I've never been the jealous type. I don't go through phones. I don't ask who she's talking to. I believe that if you have to monitor your partner, the relationship is already over. But the Justin narrative began to change in tone. It shifted from professional admiration to something stickier. It started with the hours. She'd come home at 8 p.m., then 9 p.m. Then came the team after-work drinks that stretched until midnight on a Tuesday. When she got home, she wasn't tired. She'd be buzzing, vibrant with adrenaline, smelling of gin and tonic, and checking her phone every 30 seconds. Then came the office husband jokes. Ugh, Justin is totally my office husband, she said one night while we were watching Netflix, her thumbs flying across her phone screen. He literally knows my coffee order better than you do. She laughed. I didn't. Is he texting you now? I asked, trying to keep my voice neutral. It was 10:30 p.m. It's just work gossip, she said without looking up. Drama. You wouldn't get it. The breaking point, or what should have been, came 2 weeks before the gala. We were in bed. Helen had fallen asleep with her phone on the nightstand, screen up. I was reading a book, trying to wind down, when the screen lit up. The room was dark, so the light was impossible to ignore. I glanced over, not trying to snoop, but the font was large, and the notification just stayed there. Justin, night, baby. See you at the office. Don't be late this time. My stomach dropped. It was like swallowing ice. Night, baby. With a winking emoji. I stared at the phone until the screen went dark. I looked at Helen, sleeping peacefully, her breathing calm and steady. A wave of nausea washed over me. This wasn't work gossip. This wasn't drama. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling, rehearsing what I would say, trying to find a logical explanation that didn't involve my girlfriend having an emotional affair with her boss. The next morning, while she was making coffee, I decided to bring it up. I wanted to be calm, rational. Helen, I said, leaning against the counter. I saw a message pop up on your phone last night. She froze, the sugar spoon hovering over her mug. She turned, her eyes instantly narrowed. Not with fear, but with irritation. Were you going through my phone? I didn't have to, I said, my voice steady. It lit up on the nightstand. It was from Justin. He called you baby and sent a winking emoji. She stared at me for a second, then did something that completely threw me. She laughed. A loud, dismissive, incredulous laugh. Are you serious? She asked, shaking her head as she poured milk into her cup. You're actually bent out of shape about that? He called you baby, Helen. At 11 p.m. Oh my God, she sighed, rolling her eyes so hard it looked painful. Owen, please don't be that guy. Don't be the jealous, controlling boyfriend. It's pathetic. How is it controlling to ask why another man is calling my girlfriend intimate pet names late at night? She slammed her mug down on the counter. Coffee sloshed over the rim. Because that's just how Justin is, she exclaimed, throwing her hands up. He calls everyone that. He calls the receptionist sweetie. He calls the interns honey. He's an old-school sales guy. He's just schmoozy. It's a joke. It's harmless. That's just how Justin talks. He calls everyone baby or sweetie as a joke. Don't make it weird. She walked past me, grabbed her bag, then stopped at the door and looked back at me with an expression of pure disappointment. I thought you were secure enough to handle my career, she said, her voice dripping with condescension. Justin is my boss. He's a mentor. If I make a scene about his jokes, I look uptight and I hurt my position at the office. Do you want me to get fired because you're insecure? I'm not insecure, I argued, but my voice wavered. She had flipped it so fast. Suddenly, I was the problem. I was the threat to her career. Then stop acting like it, she snapped. I have a huge presentation today. I don't have the emotional energy to baby you because you misinterpreted a text. We can talk about this later if you can manage to be an adult. She walked out. I stood in the kitchen feeling small, feeling stupid. I replayed her words. He calls everyone that. It's a joke. Maybe she was right, I told myself. Maybe corporate culture had changed and I was just old-fashioned. Maybe I was insecure. After all, Helen was beautiful and charismatic. Of course men would hit on her. If she said it was one-sided and meaningless, I had to trust her. That's what a good partner does. I swallowed my doubt. I buried it deep, in that pit where unspoken things fester. Sorry, I texted later that day. Good luck with the presentation. She replied instantly. Thanks. Love you. Don't worry about Justin. He's annoying anyway. I exhaled, letting it go. I had been foolish. 2 weeks later was the annual company gala, a black tie event at one of the city's most luxurious hotels. Helen had bought a new dress, a stunning, backless green number that probably cost $2,000, more than my first car. She'd been talking about this night for months. This is a huge networking opportunity, she'd said, fixing her hair in the mirror. Justin is going to introduce me to the regional directors. I need you to be charming. Can you be charming? And please, don't give Justin that death stare. Just be normal. I'll be normal, I promised, adjusting my tie. The perfect supportive spouse. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked composed. I looked like a man who had everything under control. But as we walked into the ballroom, under the crystal chandeliers and the hum of fancy conversation, I felt that cold weight return to my stomach. I scanned the room. It didn't take long to find him. Justin was by the bar, holding a scotch, surrounded by a circle of laughing people. He was older than I imagined, maybe late 40s, with stylishly graying hair and a suit that fit him a little too well. He radiated that specific brand of arrogance that passes for confidence in the sales world. Helen squeezed my hand. Come on, she whispered, her eyes shining. Let's go say hi. She wasn't squeezing my hand for comfort. She was pulling me toward him. She was dragging me to the cliff's edge, and I, like a loyal dog, walked right beside her. As we approached the group, Justin saw her immediately. His eyes didn't go to her face. They did a quick, practiced scan of her body in that green dress before meeting her gaze. Helen, he boomed, stepping out of the circle to embrace her. It wasn't a polite handshake or a quick hug. He pulled her against him, lingering a second too long, his hand resting familiarly on the small of her back. You look magnificent. I knew green was your color. She beamed. Thanks, Justin. You look very sharp yourself. Finally, he turned his eyes to me. The smile didn't reach them. It was the smile of a shark acknowledging a remora. And this must be Owen, he said, extending a hand. The handshake was firm, aggressive. Heard a thing or two about you. All good, I hope. Mostly, he laughed, clapping my shoulder a little too hard. Helen tells me you're the creative type. An architect, right? You draw pretty buildings while the rest of us sell the bricks. The group chuckled. It was a subtle dig, reducing my career to something fanciful and his to something essential. Helen laughed, too. That stung more than his remark. Something like that, I said coolly. The cocktail hour was excruciating. I stood there, holding a lukewarm beer, while Helen and Justin finished each other's sentences. They spoke in a code I didn't understand. Acronyms, office nicknames, references to happy hours I never knew happened. I was physically present, standing next to the woman I planned to marry, but I felt like a ghost. At one point, Justin leaned in to whisper something to her. It wasn't a casual lean. He invaded her space, his mouth inches from her ear. Helen let out a short, breathy giggle, a sound I hadn't heard from her in months. She playfully slapped his arm. "Stop it," she said, biting her lip. "Owen's right here." "He doesn't mind," Justin said, winking at me. "He knows we're just having fun. Right, Owen?" I just stared at him. "Depends on your definition of fun." Helen shot me a warning look. "Don't embarrass me." Dinner was announced. We moved to the main hall. I checked the seating chart. Table 4. Helen, Justin, Owen. Of course. We sat. The lights dimmed. The speeches began. The wine flowed. Justin kept refilling Helen's glass before she was even finished. He was charming the entire table with war stories about deals and conquered clients. But his entire body was oriented toward her. I tried to focus on my steak. I tried to tell myself I was being paranoid. He's an old-school sales guy. He's schmoozy. Then, midway through the main course, I dropped my napkin. A clumsy move, my hand shaking with contained anger. My napkin slid off my lap and landed on the floor between my chair and Helen's. I pushed my chair back a bit and bent down to pick it up. The tablecloth was long, hanging nearly to the floor, creating a small, dark shelter underneath. I reached for the white square of linen. My eyes adjusted to the dimness under the table. And time stopped. I saw Helen's legs. She was wearing heels, her ankles crossed. And I saw Justin's hand. It wasn't on her knee. It wasn't an accidental brush against her thigh. His hand was high up on her inner thigh, fingers spread against the skin exposed by the slit in her dress, his thumb tracing slow, possessive circles on her flesh. And Helen, she wasn't pulling away. She wasn't tense with discomfort. Her leg was angled toward him, pressing into his palm. I froze. The noise of the gala, the clinking silverware, the laughter, the CEO's droning speech, it all faded to a distant hum. All I could see was that hand, that violation of everything we had built, that physical manifestation of the gaslighting she had been feeding me for weeks. It's harmless. He calls everyone baby. You're insecure. I grabbed the napkin and straightened up. The blood rushed to my head. I felt dizzy. I looked at Helen. She was taking a sip of wine, looking over the rim of her glass at Justin. He whispered something, his lips barely moving. She let out that same small, stifled giggle and leaned into him, her shoulder brushing against his. She was enjoying it. That realization broke me. It wasn't just him touching her. It was her loving it, loving the risk, the secrecy, the betrayal right next to me. I didn't scream. I didn't flip the table. A strange, icy calm washed over me. It was the clarity of a man finally seeing the blueprints for what they were, flawed, dangerous, and structurally unsound. I placed the napkin on the table. I stood up. Helen looked up, alarmed. "Where are you going?" "Dessert is coming." "I'm leaving," I said. My voice was firm. "Even." "What? What do you mean?" Her brow furrowed. "Are you sick?" I looked at Justin. He was smirking, swirling his wine, not even feigning guilt. Then I looked back at Helen. "No," I said. "I've just seen enough." I turned and walked away. "Owen," she whisper-shouted. "Sit down. Everyone is looking." I didn't stop. I walked across the room, past the tables of her colleagues, past the open bar, and out the double doors. I gave my ticket to the valet, got my car, and drove off into the night. The drive home was silent. No radio, no podcasts, just the hum of the engine and the replay of that image in my mind. The hand, the thumb, the giggle. I got to our apartment. My apartment, really, though she had colonized every closet and drawer for the past 2 years. I didn't cry. I didn't break anything. I switched into architect mode. Problem identified. Solution required. Execution initiated. I got 2 suitcases out of the storage closet. I went into the bedroom and started packing her things. Not my things, hers. I didn't pack everything, just the essentials. Clothes, toiletries, shoes, her laptop. I worked efficiently, folding each item neatly. I wasn't doing it out of kindness. I was doing it so she would have no reason to linger. No excuse to say, "I can't find my charger." I placed the suitcases by the door, sat on the couch in the dark, and waited. It took her an hour to get home. I heard the key turn in the lock. She stormed in, flustered, her face red with anger. "What the hell is your problem?" she yelled, slamming the door. She was still wearing the green dress, but it didn't look beautiful anymore. It looked like a costume. "You just left me there?" Do you have any idea how humiliating that was? Justin asked where you went, and I had to lie and say you had a stomach bug. She flipped on the light, saw the suitcases, and froze. The anger on her face faltered, replaced by confusion. What? What is this? She asked, pointing at the bags. Are you going on a trip? No, I said, standing up. You are. She laughed. A high-pitched, nervous sound. What are you talking about? Because of the gala? Because I was talking to my boss? You're being insane, Owen. You're so dramatic. I saw his hand, Helen. A heavy silence fell. The air conditioner hummed. Her face went pale. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. The gaslighting was coming. I could see the gears turning, searching for the angle. You what? She stammered. I don't know what you're talking about. I dropped my napkin, I said, my voice empty of emotion. I bent down to pick it up. I saw his hand under the table. On your thigh. High up. She blinked rapidly. You imagine that. It was dark. Maybe his hand brushed yours by accident. You're crazy, Owen, looking for reasons to be jealous. His thumb was moving, Helen. He was caressing your leg, and you were leaning into it. You were giggling. Her face turned scarlet. The denial failed. Next up, minimization. Okay, look, she whispered. Maybe he got a little out of line. We'd had a lot to drink. It didn't mean anything. It was just a moment. It just happened. It's not like I slept with him. You let another man grope you while your boyfriend was sitting a foot away? I said, my voice low and sharp. You let him disrespect me. You let him disrespect us. And you liked it. You called me insecure for weeks because my gut told me this was happening. You made me question my sanity. It was a mistake, she cried, the tears finally coming. I'm sorry. I was drunk. I got caught up in the moment. It won't happen again. Please, Owen, don't throw away 3 years over one stupid, drunken moment. It wasn't one moment, I shot back. It was the texts, the late nights, the work husband crap. This was just the final signature on the blueprints. Helen, I'm done listening. You can't kick me out, she shrieked, panic setting in. I live here. My name is on the lease. I paid the security deposit. I pay the rent. You transfer me money for groceries. You have a sister in the city. Go to her place. Owen, please. She was sobbing now, reaching for me. She tried to grab my hand. I stepped back. I didn't want her to touch me. The thought of her skin made my own crawl. Take your bags, I said. I'll pack up the rest of your stuff this weekend. You can arrange to pick it up when I'm not here. Leave the key. She stared at me, the realization dawning for the first time that the nice, safe, predictable guy she had taken for granted had a limit, and she had obliterated it. She grabbed the suitcases, crying loudly, making a scene. You're going to regret this, she sobbed. You're throwing away the best thing that ever happened to you because of your ego. Goodbye, Helen. She slammed the door. I walked to it, threw the deadbolt, and slid the chain lock into place. Then I went to the kitchen, poured the rest of the wine she'd bought down the sink, and deleted her number. The next few weeks were a silent blur. I blocked everything. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. I blocked her number. But the silence wasn't empty. It was peaceful. I had no idea how much of my mental bandwidth had been consumed by her constant need for validation, the perpetual drama with her friends, the career crises she offloaded onto me every night. Of course, the flying monkeys arrived. Her best friend, Samantha, texted me 3 days later. Samantha, Owen, you need to call Helen. She's a mess. She hasn't eaten in days. She says it's all a huge misunderstanding and you're being cruel. Are you really going to end a 3-year relationship over where a hand was? Grow up. I didn't reply. Blocked. Her mother called. Voicemail. Helen's mom. Owen, sweetie. Helen is devastated. She loves you so much. Please, just talk to her. Couples go through rough patches. Don't be impulsive. Blocked. I built a new routine. The post-breakup trinity, the gym. I went every morning at 6 a.m. I pushed until my muscles shook, trading emotional pain for physical exhaustion. Work. I buried myself in a new project, a library restoration downtown. I worked late just because I didn't want to sit in the empty apartment. Silence. I didn't date. I didn't go to bars. I confronted the betrayal. I processed it, dissected it like a structural failure. I realized that Helen hadn't just cheated. She saw me as a placeholder. I was the safe harbor she docked at while she looked for excitement on the high seas. Justin was the excitement. Fine. She could have the excitement. I'd keep the harbor. The anger faded, replaced by a cold, hard indifference. I stopped wondering what she was doing. I stopped caring if she was with Justin. Until the rumors started trickling back to me. The rumors started filtering in about a month later. I didn't ask for them. I told our mutual friends I wanted no updates. I didn't want to know if she was happy, sad, or dead. But information finds a way through the cracks in the best-built walls. It was Michael, a college friend who worked in a different department at her company, who finally broke the dam. We were having a beer, and after the third round, he couldn't hold it in anymore. "You heard about Justin, right?" he asked, looking at me over his pint glass. I stiffened. "Don't want to know, Michael." "Oh, you do," he grinned. "You really, really do." I sighed. "Fine." "What?" "They got married and became the power couple of the century." Michael laughed so hard he almost choked. "Married?" "Owen, Justin got transferred to the London office 2 weeks after you dumped Helen. He didn't take her with him. He didn't even tell her until the company memo went out." A dark smile pulled at my lips. "You're kidding." "Nope. And that's not all," Michael said, leaning in, lowering his voice. "Apparently, the second you kicked her out and she became available, Justin lost all interest. The thrill of the chase was gone. He told the sales team she was being clingy and unprofessional. He ghosted her, Owen. He literally avoided her at the office until the transfer went through." I took a long swallow of my beer. It tasted like victory. So that was the great love affair, the intellectual connection, the office husband who understood her better than me. To him, it was just a game. I was the goalie, and once I left the field, scoring wasn't fun anymore. "She's bombing at work now," Michael continued. "Her numbers have tanked. People say she cries in the bathroom. People avoid her because the whole Justin thing made her look desperate. She torched her own life for a guy who saw her as a layover. I thought I would feel pity. I waited for that pang of I should check on her. But it never came. All I felt was validation. My instincts hadn't just been right. They had been surgical. A week later, the emails started. I had blocked her number, but emails were slipping through the spam filter. Subject: "You're right. Owen, I know you blocked me. I get why. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I've been doing a lot of thinking. Justin was a mistake. I was in a confusing place. I let the validation go to my head. I miss our life. I miss us. Can we talk?" Delete. Subject: "Please read. I'm sleeping on my sister's couch. It's awful. I realize how much I took our home for granted. You were the only stability I had. Justin was a narcissist. Owen, you were right about him. I should have listened to you. Please let me come home. I'll do anything." Delete. Subject: "You owe me closure. You can't just erase 3 years. That's sociopathic. I made a mistake, but you're being cruel. We were best friends. Don't I deserve 5 minutes to explain myself?" I didn't delete that one right away. I stared at it. "You owe me." The entitlement was still there, fermenting under the apologies. She didn't miss me. She missed the safety net. She missed the rent-controlled apartment, the guy who cooked dinner, the stability she had eagerly traded for a cheap thrill. I moved it to the trash and emptied it. 6 months passed. I was a different person. I'd put on 10 pounds of muscle. The library restoration project was featured in a local architecture journal. I was dating Qley, a pediatrician who communicated clearly, hated drama, and didn't have an office husband. I had almost forgotten the sound of Helen's voice until she ambushed me. It was a Tuesday morning. I was at my usual coffee shop near work, waiting for my Americano. I was scrolling through emails on my phone when I sensed a presence beside me. "Hi, Owen." I looked up. It was Helen, but not the Helen I remembered. The Helen I knew was vibrant, sharp, and put together. This woman looked diminished. Hair pulled into a messy bun, an oversized blazer, and dark circles under her eyes that even concealer couldn't hide. She was clutching a cup of tea, her hands trembling. "Helen," I said. My voice was neutral. No anger, no warmth. Just a statement of fact. "I knew you came here before work," she said with a fragile smile. "I was hoping I'd run into you." "I'm busy, Helen." "Just 5 minutes," she pleaded, her eyes instantly welling up. She had perfected that look over 3 years. The damsel in distress look that always made me cave. "Please. I just want to make peace. We ended on such a bad note." "We didn't end on a bad note," I corrected. I ended things definitively. I know, she sniffled. And you were right to be angry. I was horrible. Justin, he used me, Owen. He told everyone I was obsessed with him. He ruined my reputation at the office. I might have to quit. She paused, waiting for me to comfort her. Waiting for me to say, that's awful. I'm sorry to hear that. I just looked at her. Sounds like a tough work environment, I said. It was the kind of thing you say to a stranger at a bus stop. She recoiled. The coldness hit her harder than a shout ever could. That's it, she whispered. You don't care? After everything we've been through? I'm struggling, Owen. I'm really struggling. She took a step closer, reaching for my arm. I miss you. I miss the balance I had with you. You made me a better person. Couldn't we just have dinner? Start over? I promise, I'm different now. I learned my lesson. I stepped back, avoiding her touch. Are you listening to yourself? I said calmly. Yes, I'm listening. I know I hurt you. No, I interrupted. You didn't just hurt me. You insulted me. You looked me in the eye for months and told me I was crazy for seeing what was right in front of my face. You called me insecure to cover for your own lack of integrity. I know, she wept. I'm sorry. I don't need your apology, Helen, I said, because I don't care anymore. Honestly. She looked at me, stunned. You don't mean that. I do. When I walked out of that gala, I didn't just walk out on the event. I walked out on you. I walked out on the drama, the manipulation, the office husbands, all of it. And watching you now, seeing you blame Justin for ruining you instead of taking responsibility for the choices you made, it just confirms I made the right decision. I am taking responsibility, she sobbed, realizing people in the coffee shop were starting to watch. I'm here begging you. You're not here for me, I said. You're here because you're lonely and your life got hard. Because the validation you were chasing blew up in your face. Because you're finding out that the world, unlike me, isn't willing to cover for you and excuse your behavior. You don't miss me, Helen. You miss the comfort you sacrificed. You're not here for me. You're here for the safety net. But the net is gone. The barista called my name. Americano for Owen. I walked over and picked it up. I turned back to her one last time. You know, you should almost thank Justin, I said. She blinked, confused. What? He did me a favor, I said. If he hadn't been so arrogant, if he hadn't put his hand on your leg that night, I might have married you. I might have wasted the rest of my life on someone who thinks loyalty is a punchline. I took a sip of my coffee. So yeah, I'm doing great. Good luck with everything, Helen. Owen, please, she started, her voice cracking. I turned and walked out the door. The morning air was crisp. The city was waking up. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from Qley, asking if I wanted to try that new Thai place tonight. I texted back. Sounds perfect. See you tonight. I put my phone away and walked toward my office. I didn't turn around to look back inside the coffee shop. I didn't need to check if she was crying. I didn't need to see the regret on her face. She was just a stranger I used to know. And I had buildings to design. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.